Hey, what's up, bro? What's up, bro? We live. How you doing,
What's
man?
going on, bro? I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Hey, it might be a late start. We'll kick it live. Welcome everybody to the to kicking it with the Kellys. If you give me one moment, I just gotta do something real quick, but we'll go ahead and get the show started in a couple of seconds. All right.
My brother really paused the show live and went off screen. Okay. Well, you kicking it with C right now. He'll be back. Sorry we were getting on a little tardy this evening, but hopefully we have a great show for you guys. And I'll have to be back shortly. He probably got to do dead stuff.
All right. What's up, man?
What's going on, bro?
How much? Man, you ready to get the show started?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, let's go ahead on and fade to black. Kicking it with the Kellys. Let's go. It's just some things you can't do no more, and some places you can't go no more. Some things you say you can't say anymore.
On Bourbon Street or not. But
Corinthians said this is oil. It's probably big. What is bigger than oil? This thing is diamonds. Like, it's like so massive.
Not gonna do this with y'all. Y'all not gonna. This is cyberbullying, right? I'll be feeling our theme music, though.
Yeah, see, it plays and I can see the visual. I just can't hear none of the
You can
sound.
tap for sound. You don't tap for sound?
Yeah, I just don't want to break anything, so I just
All right,
leave it
man. So
around.
you've been missing all our stuff, man.
Yeah, man, I haven't heard the theme ever, actually.
Okay, hey man, don't worry. Hey, we're about to fade to black. We're about to do it again. Welcome to Kicking It with the Kellys. Go ahead and tap that sound, bro. It's just some things you can't do no more, and some places you can't go no more. Some things you say you can't say anymore.
on Bourbon Street or not. But
Corinthians said this is oil. It's probably big. What is bigger than oil? This thing is diamonds. Like, it's like so massive.
Not gonna do this with y'all. Y'all not gonna. This is cyberbullying, right?
You know what? Yep. Look, the bass, when the bass come in, it's booming.
When the bass come in.
When the beat drop. Yes, sir. That's it.
Man.
We got a winner.
Man, how you doing on this April 21st day, man?
Man, I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Great. I cannot complain at all, man. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, Corinthian, man. I'm wearing another set of glasses. They're a little different. They got more the square feel. I got two sets when I got
Yeah, okay. Yeah, look, that's what changes things. You gotta have.
You gotta have it too.
Different...
You gotta be able to switch it on and off.
Oh man, I have so right now I have my gray kind of oval shaped pair, give me a more circular look. And then I have my square browns and my square blacks. That's the look for.
Well, yeah. See, I didn't change up my colors, man. I should have changed up my colors. I kept the same color glasses, but they're two different types. One is more round and one is more square. Yeah.
Okay, and that's usually a mistake that rookie, glasswares make, because you need the versatility. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So it's just the colors, because sometimes I have, blue on. I like to have my brown or my gray tinted.
Yeah.
If I
Yeah.
got my blacks on, or if I got my whites on, I'll put my black on. Yeah, but those things you learn over, learn over time.
Yeah, current thing.
You know,
I didn't, I didn't know about those things
yeah,
when I got them, but I was just so happy, to be
yeah.
picking something out. But I
Oh
won't
yeah.
make that mistake again.
Yeah. No, and that happens to the best of us. So you just starting out. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
just
I've
starting
been
out.
in this. I've been in this game for a while, man. So yep. Hmm.
Yo, you funny, yo. Corinthian. So you had a busy week. Very busy week, man. Let's talk about your week, man.
Man, I had a busy week, man. So I am in the process of wrapping up my management internship, which is a postgraduate fellowship with the Sedgwick County Manager's Office. It's a year program. In order to be in the program, you have to have a master's in public administration. So I'm finishing that up and fielding prospects on what I want to do next. And it has been really, you
Isn't it
know,
amazing when you can say field and prospects?
Man, look, that's the way, that's where you want to be, fielding prospects. So right now I'm in the process of fielding
Hey,
four
cuz.
different. What's going on, Nikki? How you doing? Um, right now I'm in the process of fielding a couple of prospects, both internally with the county, as well as externally. And different sectors. But it's been a true blessing. Like it's been a learning experience for me.
Right.
Um, in this season, I've I hadn't been in interviews before where they asked me what range you looking for. I hadn't been in interviews like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
before. The interviews that I used to go in is they say this is where you'll be starting. It's no
This just
negotiation.
starting.
And the interviews I'm in now, they ask what range would you
Yeah,
like, and
yeah.
then I said a range, and they said we can do that. I had never been in it. In this season, I've been able to um, be offered a position. I got offered a position last night, and
Wow.
I was able to negotiate. Um, that I have another interview that I would really like to go to um, next week. And
So now, Corinthian, let's teach the folks. Now, when you say
yeah,
you got an offer, for a position, you're in the position right now to tell that the people that offered you the position that you are fielding other opportunities.
it, so
Ooh, let's talk
so
about that. See, most people can't say that. They
yeah,
if they get an offer, they better accept it within 24 hours, or
yeah,
let's talk about
yeah,
that.
yeah. So it's been, I'll just say God is good. So I got a call last night with the offer. It was a competitive offer, and I told them in full transparency that
Wow.
I am talking in contact with three other places, and I would like to do. I got invited for a second interview with an organization, and I would like to honor my commitment and go and interview at that place. The interview is next week, next Tuesday. Um,
Wow.
the person I talked to understood, and he said, "Well, we want you." The first thing he said to me was, "We want you, and we want to make it so you can't say no." So that was a great position to be in. I explained what I wanted to do, and he said, "Well, this is what we'll do. I understand." He said, I understand that you have an interview next week. You can go to that interview. and he asked me this morning to please allow us to counter offer any offer that you offered next week. Please give us that chance. And I said, that is more than reasonable. And I told him that I would be making a decision next Friday after I pray on it. So I had never been in a situation like that before. But again, I thank God for His favor and that opportunity. So
no, Corinne, that's actually amazing, man. And you know, when you have that position, have that latitude, have that option, you know, you have that sense of awareness, and when you're up front, when you can be upfront with employers, because you know a lot of times we're put in that position or a situation when we're applying, you know, it's kind of like, well, what can you do for the company?
yeah,
But it's looking like the tables have turned.
yeah.
It's looking like, what can the company do for you?
Man, Arthur, I squared that away with my direct supervisor, right? That'd be the person I'd be reporting to. I get a call today by the CEO of the company, and he said, congratulations on being offered a position with our organization. He said, I talked with my direct supervisor. He said, I understand you're fielding a couple offers. And he said, let me explain why this is the place where you want to work at. I had never in my life been caught. Like, I felt like, you know how pro athletes get scouted and they talk to, or when you fielded, when
you in
were
negotiations.
when you were a top athlete and you looking at a couple schools and they all give you the pitch.
Yeah,
That's literally what I felt like. And I had never had nobody call and say, you know, this is the pitch, this is why you should be here,
right.
and we want you here. I had never, I mean, you know. So one of the things that he said that stuck out to me, he gave an example of Amazon, and he said when Amazon hires, they have hiring managers, they have a council that's in the hiring committee, and then they asked a person that's not in that person's chain of command to come in and interview, and that person is called the bar raiser.
Okay.
And the bar raiser is somebody that sets the bar for the organization. So they are a person. When you think of a bar raiser, that means you are raising the level of talent and ability around you. So that person is highly skilled. That person is like a benchmark setter, right?
Correct.
And I thought that was such a cool concept. He said, what we want to do in our organization, we bring in bar raisers, because he said your skills, your assets, your talents and abilities will help others in this organization. And it's not a threat to us. It's an asset to us. And, you know, so he gave me that. He broke that down to me so well. I said, well, I can definitely see why you the CEO, the president of the organization. I mean, he did it well. Well, but it just got me thinking, you know, that's who I want to be around. Bar raisers. I want to be around people that I can learn from, grow from, challenge me, because think about, you know, in athletics, how do you get better? You get better by playing great competition.
Yeah.
You know, if you playing with JV, you know, you're going to get JV results. But if you move up to varsity, you're going to be playing a whole different talent pool. So that's how you get better and grow your skills. So, you know, just pray for me in this season.
Yeah, man. Well, to all our Kicking It with the Kellys followers and listeners, and just keep Corinthian in your prayers as he makes decisions for not only for his professional career, but his family. And you know, Corinthian, do you hate being called a young man?
No,
And what I mean by this, and I'm going to tell you, I think I was when me and Kid, it'll be 12 years in June. June 19th, we'll be married 12 years.
Wow.
So about when we like first got married, so this had to been in after 2010, 2011, 2012. I was playing basketball for, it was the men's fellowship.
Yeah.
And Corinthian, one of the guys, they didn't know my history or whatever, pedigree or whatever. I'm not saying I was anything, but they were like, hey man, you too young to be playing with us. And Corinthian, I think for the first time ever, I was like, I'm a grown man. I got a whole wife. But I got, honestly, Quentin, I got a little offended. Because I was like, dude, who are you talking to? I'm not no little kid. What are you doing? Now I got out there and balled everybody up. But it kind of I was taken aback because I couldn't believe. I was like, dude, I'm a grown man. I done been to college. I'm married. I work. I got a career. What are you talking about? So, Corinthian, that's the first time ever I think I've been ever offended. So I'm kind of conscientious about how I talk to younger men. I don't want them to feel like I'm trying to come to them like, oh, I know more than you, or I'm better than you because I'm older than you. I think there's a sense of grace and a sense of poise that you have to have when you get more wisdom. You got to understand how to come to the younger generation, because you trying to come to them like you something like that, like you haven't been through what they've been through, or you weren't in the same situations, or had to come up like that. It could be very off-putting. And Corinthian, I felt some type of way. I'm telling you this now, to this day, this thing has stuck with me for how many ever years. I'm going on 12 years. I got 2 kids. And it's still ringing in my head what was said to me. It wasn't, but it wasn't malicious, but it was how it was said. And I didn't like it because I'm like, dude, we in the same boat now. Yeah. So how you feel about that? I don't know.
Wow. Very, very, very good point. What you brought up. Working in the youth development field for a number of years in the nonprofit sector, I think I learned more than the kids did. And I say that because kids can be a mirror, like in a lot of ways, and especially young people. The younger people I will work with, they were always watching. Even if I didn't know people were watching, they were watching. So it's not always about what is said sometimes. Okay. The adage, your actions speak louder than words.
Right.
Okay. What you said is okay, but young people are watching what you do. Day in, day out, 24/7, 365. That level of consistency, right? So it's easy to come in and say X, Y, and Z, here today, gone tomorrow. It's a whole nother thing to say, I'm going to do it and then follow through and be there to see it to completion. That is how, when folks say respect is a two-way street, it really is. That is how respect, in my opinion, is earned. It's keeping your word. It's keeping your word, really. So I have been blessed and fortunate enough to see some seeds that I planted when I did not know what I was doing. Really, I didn't. I had no kind of concept of youth development and trying to mold and shape young people's lives.
Right.
And the folks, the young people I work with that now they grown. I mean, some of them have families now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Right. I've seen some of those seeds that I planted blossom and grow, and to the point where they are now old enough and mature enough to say, I appreciate what you sowed into me.
Oh, I love that. So
that you know, that perspective right there, man, it's
Corinthian. I'm gonna even take it a step further, Corinthian. Even in my golf journey, which started in 2020, I golf now I golf now primarily with 3 people. Shout out to Coach Vic Lansdowne, man. Thank you so much, man, for inviting me out and playing and teaching me and grooming me. But Dr. G, Ralph G, great basketball player in his time, and Joseph Erd. Now they are Dr. G is in his late 50s. Mr. Joe is in his 70s, older than mom and dad, right? And that's who I golf with. But Corinthian, they have taken me under their wing. They treat me, now I'm way younger than them, but they treat me as a counterpart, compadre. They treat me as, you know, they know I'm learning the game. And wherever they go, I'm going, because they know what they're talking about. And it's what they have given me is what I expected when I was that 25-year-old that was married. You know, I didn't want to hear that you too young to be playing with me. And I'm saying, how important are mentors even for our age? Like, you know, I want to chill with the people that have experience in this game, know what they talking about. And then shout out to my other mentor, and I'm gonna shout you out, Mr. Darrell Joppy. Because we talking, he talking like he my older brother, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's one of those relationships. Yeah. And I would have to say, you know, you need this in your life, because there's a lot of things that, you know, your dad can teach you and everything like that. Yeah. But there's a lot of things when you see a group of men that can follow that same path, but teach you other aspects that your dad didn't dive into, or you know, weren't involved in. So what is the importance of mentorship, especially for Black men?
Oh my goodness, it is critical.
Right.
It is critical. It is crucial. I would say it is vitally important, especially in this day and time.
Right.
And I actually look back over time. I should have actively sought certain mentors in my teens and early 20s, because I realize now in my mid 30s that is a fast track to wisdom, understanding, experience, lessons, life lessons. It is really a fast track to it. And so now it is incumbent upon us, where we are, to reach back to because it's this thing. You know, the statement that we heard growing up, you know, can't nobody tell me nothing.
Oh man.
That's a phase that I think all males go through at some point. Because we want to
even further. You're not my daddy. You're not my daddy.
Yeah. So it is actually a natural part of development in a young person's life. I mean, you can even look at the animal kingdom, and like, for example, you're not gonna see two Mufasas with the same pride, right? Because the son Simba gonna grow old enough and he gotta leave and start his own thing, right? So I think about the father-son dynamic where it becomes a certain age.
We'll send you one.
Crafted with Meek, man.
Crafted with Meek.
So it's a certain age where young men naturally want to assert their dominance. They want to they smelling themselves, so to speak, by around high school. It's natural. That is natural, right? But we need to get back to a point where you still need guidance navigating a lot of stuff, right? I think about the guidance in buying my first home.
Yeah.
Who do you get that kind of guidance from outside of a person that's gone through it? Like, can you get guidance about how to buy your first home from somebody that's rented their whole life?
Right.
Or from somebody that owns a home, is a property owner, or owns two homes, or you see what I'm saying? So those kind of things are so important. So mentorship, to the point that you were making, is so important. And it goes both ways. Especially in our age group, it is so important, in my opinion, for us that are closer. What's going on, Mike? To this current generation, generation of young people, they not lost.
No,
they not lost. They just looking for consistent examples. That's what they're looking for. They are misunderstood in a lot of ways, and they are facing more pressures than we ever faced, because you got things like social media now. Back when we was growing up, if you got joked on, back when we was growing up, that stayed on your bus, at your bus stop, maybe your neighborhood, but that's the extent of where it spread to. Nowadays, somebody can talk about you, that goes viral, and people in California can see it, and you in Virginia. That's the reality that's nowadays. Kids have access to so much more than we ever did.
They need, when you're saying because they have all this access, they need someone to help guide them through this process, knowing that, hey guys, if you do this now, how is it going to look for you in the future? And Corinthian, that brings us to kind of what we want to talk about. Yeah. Obviously, we know a good man's steps are ordered by the Lord, right? Mm-hmm. So, what we want to talk about tonight is order important to you? Is order important to you? I know another scripture says everything must be done in decency and in order. Yeah. Do we like order? And what are the ramifications of not following the order that's placed out? So we can take this a couple of different ways, Corinthian. We can talk about it in a couple of different ways. What does order mean to you? And are we out of order these days, or in relationships, and how we, family, are we out of order?
Yeah. Okay. To the essential question, are we out of order these days? Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Yes, we are
out of order. And I'll point to prove that, in my opinion, well, let's look at the results. Let's look at how things are. There is a divine order in a household. Mom, dad.
Yeah.
First, boy, man meets woman.
Yeah.
They marry,
Right.
Then kids come and there's roles for that dad got to do, is roles that mom has to do.
Right.
That's how things were. I would even go as far as saying 50, 60 years ago.
Corinthian, I'm gonna stop you right there because
Yeah.
they got a song about it.
Yeah.
Corinthian and Tasha sitting in the tree, Kissing. First comes love, then
Yep.
comes marriage,
Yes.
then comes baby and a baby carriage. Now, I'm not gonna say the other part because it say that's not all.
That's no, that's the remix version. No. Let's just keep it that way. Let's keep it
the right order.
The orderly way, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the fruit that comes out of that, right?
Right.
So, okay. So you see some fruit. Now, when you don't do things in the order, okay, in the right order, in my opinion, you can have different results.
Ooh.
And what I would say is that just look at numbers. Let's look at the outcomes of kids being reared and raised in a two-parent home, kids being raised in something different for whatever reason, and show me the outcomes. Now, if you can tell me, if you can show me definitively, because I haven't seen it anywhere, if you can show me definitively that kids raised in the two-parent household have the same exact outcomes as kids raised in the single-parent household, meaning that there's no real difference, then I would say, okay, do what you want to do. But now,
can we really say that though? Can we are people gonna get really in their feelings if we really say, if we speak like really facts on this, like growing up in children reared in a two-parent household tend to have more favorable outcomes than those raised in a single-parent household? It's too touchy, right?
Yeah. So I'm gonna take the emotion out of this, Arthur. Okay. So
two-parent job. Yeah. Gotcha.
Okay, before we get into parenting, how does a kid come here? Does it take just one person to get a kid here? Or the only way a kid will get here is with two people? So if it take two people to anatomy, biology wise, make a kid, it would stand to reason to me that you need both influences to rear a kid.
I love how you said the influences. Got you. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, moving on, moving on from that. Now, Arthur, you're married and you have two young boys.
Right.
It's hard enough with two parents. You see what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure you have seen, and you have is Baylor 8 or 7 right now?
He 8, man.
You have an 8-year-old boy.
Right.
In your 8 years, could you imagine trying to do it by yourself?
Yeah. It's hard. I think Sherry said it. Single moms, and it could be vice versa. Single moms or single dads want help. They don't want to do it alone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, right. So it's challenging enough with two there. Okay.
Right.
So I'm saying, what would lessen the burden? Would lessen the burden with subtracting lessen the burden, or adding?
Yeah.
Lessen the burden. Okay. That's one. Okay. Yeah. What
well, it even goes further than that, because the stigma or the statement used to be, it takes a village to raise a child. So the implication already is it takes more than one person to raise a child.
Yeah.
So with that analogy, we can typically say that it's going to at least take two people to raise a child.
Yeah.
All right. So when we talk about village, I think a lot of single parents, and when I'm talking about single, I want everybody to understand what my definition of a single parent is. A single parent is a girl and a guy got together. They did not get married. They never were under the same household. Okay. And when we talk about household, we talk about living in one house as a unit. Okay. So they never got married, and the guy could leave in his own fruition or whatever. There was no tying of the two people together. All right. So that means if the guy leaves and there was nothing, the mom or the dad has to raise the child typically in that household. If the father is maybe in his life, they're raising them in another house. So it's two households that you're raising your child in, not in one household. I'm not talking about people who have gotten married and gotten a divorce. Okay. They are legally bound to each other in some way, even with that divorce, through a lot of different things to raise that child. So when I say single parent, I'm talking about people that did not get married before they had a child. That's what I'm talking about. What would you, or would you agree, or are you saying you are encompassing all of it?
Oh, I would agree. I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
All right. So single, I would say, that's where the problem lies, because I think a lot of people don't understand the significance in what is the aftermath. You never think about what is going to happen years down the line, and we have to have some order in some things. So like, obviously, if the order is, hey, a girl and guy meet, they get together, they talk about marriage, they get married, they have a child, I think it's going to be a more favorable outcome for the child, as opposed to we do this out of order. Now, I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me because they might have been in that situation themselves, where they didn't follow the order of operations. And it's order and everything, correct, right?
Absolutely. So look, from a natural, if you're trying to put together a dresser, can you start on step 15? You skip past step 1 through 14 and start on 15 and expect to have a fully functional end product? And I would argue with you, no. Arthur, across the street, they building houses. They putting up houses in my neighborhood.
Right.
And step 1 is set the foundation.
Yeah.
Step 1 is not construct the roof and then attach the roof at the end. That's further down in the process. So what I'm saying is there's order in everything if you want a favorable result. And even if you do follow all the steps, you can still not have a favorable result. But what I'm saying is, what gives you the best chances of having a favorable result? And I know people have a lot of impassioned feelings about it. I'm trying to take the emotion out of it personally, because I'm not saying you can't have a good outcome from a single parent home. We know some single parents that are doing some phenomenal things, raising phenomenal children. But what I'm saying is, I'm just saying, is it easier adding or subtracting?
Oh, Corinthians. So all right, so we got a comment on the floor here. When by the grace of God your out of orderness didn't catch up with you, it's easy to sit where you are and have this conversation.
I agree with that statement 100%. It is very easy to say that. It can sound like judgment at times.
Yeah, yeah.
But I look at it as good advisement and warnings. Like what
Right.
I'm saying is the reason why we should be raising our young people to think in this mindset of there is a proper order, and if you follow the proper order you can have more favorable outcomes, is because they have choices, in which way they want to go, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So if you raise a child in the way they should go, when they get old, they won't depart. That's what.
Right.
That's
It's a
what it says.
template. It's a template there that if we followed it, everything should flow
Yeah.
right.
Yes.
If we followed the blueprint. Now, obviously, when we do things out of order or we miss a step, we try to cheat a step, we skip a step, and that could even mean, Corinthian, skipping steps could even mean if you do have a child, but then get married.
Yeah.
That's like skipping. You still following. You getting
Yeah.
married, but you had a child first. So something could happen in
Yeah.
during that process where something was missed, something was out of order. Yeah, I mean you're gonna right track it, but it's still out of order, right?
Yeah.
So we gotta stop. I think as people, we gotta stop saying, "Oh well, it happened for me."
Yeah.
It happened for me, but we got to look at it in totality. The amount of people that it happens for is way less than what it could be if everybody followed the right order.
Yeah. See, I think at this point, because we've seen people make it work.
Man, I love how you said that.
The wrong way, we think that that's okay, right? Because we've seen so many people figure it out somehow, we think that might be the right way. So, for example, if you building a house and all your houses are crooked and you putting up 30 crooked houses, if you see that, you would think, all right, well, it's nothing wrong with the house is crooked, right? The only way you're gonna change that is if you have somebody that teaches you how to build a not crooked but straight house. That's the house with less less maintenance over time that needs help and things. You see what I'm saying? So
you hitting on something now.
It's not saying that folks that grew up differently can't give valid advice. I'm not saying that at all.
We can
Corinthian. Go ahead.
We can apply this to pretty much everything. You can function, but you can function in chaos. And the thing is, when you just said the building the crooked house, Corinthian, something. I try to keep a okay clean house, right? You can think we got stuff put away, but stuff might be in the closet. We just pushed it to the side. We just clean up this little clutter or whatever. Until you walk into somebody's house that's clean, then you see
this is how it could be.
This is how it could be. And Corinthian, when for relationships, if you arguing and stuff, but you saying, "Oh, we function, we good," but then you see somebody that got it right.
Yeah.
Oh, Corinthian, and that could be a car. Your car could be running, But when you get in a well-oiled machine car, that's a function and hitting all cylinders.
Yes, they perform at a different level. When you have something that's well oiled, it is built to perform differently. Arthur, if you drive your car and don't change the oil in 150,000 miles, it's going to perform differently than the car that has a routine Oil
Oh
check every
man,
4,000 miles. Period.
routine.
And it could be the same car, right? Okay, so to this point, right? What baffles me at this point, and maybe it's just me, but Arthur, imagine if you got a car, right?
Right,
Would you just loan your car out to anybody and say, "Go ahead, you could take my
right,
car
right.
and do whatever," and I trust you to bring it back. So let me bring this analogy. I would say there have been relationships where you just loaned something to somebody you barely knew, and you expected them to take care of your car like it's your car. You
Right.
see what I'm saying? I would apply that same analogy to some relationships. I've heard from different people that have a baby dad or baby mom and things like that, and they're not on the same page, right? But I start thinking, well, where was the vetting process prior to? You
Right.
see what I'm saying? Because once the child is here, to me, I would think the vetting, the heavy vetting, the screening, the checking everything, you know, almost like when you go buy a car. Don't when you go buy a car, you get the Carfax and you check
Yeah,
you
Carfax
test
test drive
drive.
it so you don't
Like,
have a limit.
does anybody ever go buy a car or a high value purchase sight unseen and just say, well, I mean, I'm gonna trust it, right? We should be doing the same due diligence with partners, with potential mates, where sometimes I don't see that consistent level of due diligence or scrutiny. Um, and I think that's extremely important.
Oh, Corinthian.
But
I
that's just
think
me.
one of Kia asks, are y'all saying having children when I'm married equals chaos? I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it equals chaos. I'm saying it does have the potential to be chaotic. And we have to stop, in a sense, calling something that's out of order normal.
Mm.
Just because it's being done.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we're really getting to. Like, if we follow the proper order, like we said, God's order, then most likely the outcome is going to be great. But this means we have to follow the order. So even when getting married, we got to make sure that we're doing, husband is loving the wife and treat as Christ loved the
Yeah.
church and all that. So and that's where it doesn't become chaotic. But if we fall out or we miss some of these steps along the way, then it has the potential of being chaotic. So no, I'm not saying that having a child out of wedlock is going to equal chaos, because some people are doing it and they're functioning fine, but they're finding out now that they're trying to recreate the wheel. So if you had a child out of wedlock, let's just say that, and now you're looking and you want to get married, the obvious choice is you should probably go back to your child's father.
Okay, Arthur, I'm approach from this way. Okay, if it works so well, if you could do it anyway, then why do the outcomes bear out something different?
Mm.
I worked in Baltimore, Maryland for close to 4 years. Baltimore has one of the highest murder rates, and unfortunately, it is people that look like me and Arthur murdering each other. And so I would ask, okay, if that family structure works, what should be happening is parent that worked so well should be able to come and correct that,
Oh
where it
wow.
wouldn't even be there.
Wow.
But you know, like I know, that's not the case. So what I'm saying is we can always give the example of LeBron James. He came from a single parent household and he the richest, basketball player in the world and has a beautiful family and all that kind of stuff. You gave me the outliers. I'm giving you what I have seen with my own eyes.
Wow.
I have seen what happens when you don't have balance, because basically what I'm talking about balance. If it take man and woman to make a kid, in my opinion, it takes man and woman to raise kid, because there are certain things that you need from mom and there's certain things you need from dad to be in balance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if you have both those, you can still be in balance, right? But what I'm saying is the outcomes through the course of time, history, have shown that there's some differences. And what I'm saying is, show me the outcomes. Well, then who is in our penitentiaries? Who is in our juvenile justice system? Who is
Wow.
getting suspended? Who is bullying? And what I'm saying is, if we start asking some deeper questions, I'm gonna tell you, in the program that I work with, I could almost tell to a kid who, by their behavior, who came from a
Wow.
supportive household with both parental influence, strong influences in their lives, and who didn't. Because what it's going to manifest, what I've seen over time, and I would love to hear, the viewing audience thoughts. What I've seen manifest in outcomes when you don't have that balance. Young boys, if they do not have dads, fathers in their lives to instill discipline, work ethic, the father is supposed to, in my opinion, teach a young man how to control himself, how
Correct. I'm
to
about to push.
harness
I'm about to
anger.
push. I'm about to push. I'm about to push this limit here.
Okay.
Now, obviously, you have said it takes two to tango. It
Yep.
takes two to make a child. And then you saying that, with the child, they need a male influence. Well, Corinthian, the question I'm going to ask you, and I think a lot of women will ask the same question is, well, if it takes two to tango, why isn't the father in his life? Why am I
Yeah.
raising this child on my own?
Yeah. And I would ask, why is kid here without the commitment? That's what I would ask.
Yeah.
How does that how did we skip that step?
Yeah. Oh, correct. And it can't be the phrase or the statement, oh, I was young and dumb. Can't apply all the time. I hear that as
But
yeah,
but okay, if we're going by that, then it should be a lot of people
one
with just
kid.
one.
Wow.
Now, is that the case? And I
Brent,
would
we
say,
stepping on some toe. I think we in some deep.
but stepping on toes or not, what I'm just saying, look at the outcome. If you could show me it working consistently in a community, if you can show me if you can show me a penitentiary that's
Wow.
not full of young men that's angry, um, because they're searching, they need approval, they need someone to speak life into them, they
Right.
need someone to tell them their worth, they need someone to instill in them the discipline that every time I get angry, I can't go from 0 to 100.
Wow.
That's not a that's something that a young man has to be disciplined to know, right?
Mm,
And what I'm saying is, I know 9 times out of 10 mom tries, but mom is not built and designed a lot of times to show that difference, because the women I've been around, not sometimes can be led by emotion. So the emotion can make you see red, right?
Right.
That is one of the most dangerous things for especially a young black male, to get mad and see red and whatever happened.
Wow. Corinthian. Oh, so order is important.
Order is important.
And when we're talking about the single mom, we're talking about single mom right now in this concept. It is hard that if you do have a child before you're married, it is hard for you to demand the same level from another man if you've already given a child to a man that you didn't see fit to marry. And that means you are asking of another man to become a stepfather if he wants to marry you.
Arthur, even before that, what was wrong with the kid's father? If a child got created, what's wrong with the kid's dad? That's the point I'm trying to make, is that if if there's this level of whatever you want to call it, where you could come together and create a whole nother person,
right?
And then if you tell me after the fact, once child is here, this person is not suitable to marry, then to me that cancels out. Like, I would question anybody's judgment.
Oh, Corinthian. See, but we're talking about some stuff that a lot of people probably don't want to hear or don't want to talk about, because as men, and you gotta think of, there are a lot of men who are single and childless, and they're looking for wives. But Corinthian, let me ask you this: how many times have you heard females say, "I don't need a man"? How many times have you heard that?
I've heard it a lot. I've heard it a lot. And if that were the case, well, you would say, man, we should have a whole lot of well-adjusted kids today. Wow. What do we say about this current generation?
Wow.
And Arthur, I'm saying, I've worked in the school.
Yeah.
Arthur, I've met people that say, no, I don't want to be around. If it's going to be young kids there, how they act, and I'm like, then I ask the question, well, who's raising them?
Who's raising? Ooh. Hey, this red table talk for you right here. This true red table talk. Who's raising them?
You know, like I know. you know, like I know, right? So, you have father is important and mom is important, right. And they have both vitally important roles to play.
Right.
We have gotten so far out of order. We think you can substitute in X for Y, get the same result, and you cannot. Okay, you cannot replace.
You got to do the parentheses first, huh?
Yeah, no, you can't replace what a dad brings to the table. You can't replace what a mom brings to the table.
Right.
You need both of them.
Right.
And we have fooled ourselves into thinking, because it's almost taboo to talk about this. You can't make anybody feel, some type of way, and I would say, okay, I don't want to make you feel any way about it. what are the outcomes? So in 2022, we have a younger generation, and what do we say about them, right? And okay, if the negative things that we're saying, who is raising the young
Corinthian,
people?
I honestly, Corinthian, and I'm gonna be so serious, man, because I work in the schools.
Yeah.
And I've seen in the past, there are young women having children because they ultimately want something to play with.
Mhm.
They want to dress the child up.
Yeah.
They want to be able to say, oh, he's going to be rocking the nicest outfits.
Mhm.
Oh, I can't wait to have. But everything that they did was so out of order.
Yeah.
That I'm like, come on. And I'm hearing moreover that when women get into a certain age, they're almost saying, oh man, I didn't have, for those who don't have children, now obviously, when you get to a certain age, you got to start worrying about, okay, how your body is going to be affected after you have this child. Can you still have this child at this age? But they are electing, because they can't necessarily cooperate with a man enough to get in a relationship to have a child.
Yeah.
They're electing to have a child on their own without a father. They already know hands down, no father's gonna be in the picture.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're doing a lot of things out of order.
Yeah.
And again, this is no slight. I mean, you could say to each his own, but we really got to start thinking about this. Corinthian is really telling us what the outcomes are when you really do it out of order. I can promise you that most of the children in his program did not come from a 2-parent household.
Most of the kids in the school I went to didn't come from one, and it was clearly evident the ones that did.
Wow.
Just as simple as behavior. Okay.
Wow.
And not saying that there aren't well-behaved kids that come from single parent. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
Okay. And I've also seen a point when you're missing something, when you're out of balance and missing something, sometimes your response to correction.
So basically, wrap it up until you're married. Yeah, but Corinthian, but we let's just even go deeper, man. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna say this.
Yeah.
And you can have sex without bringing a child into this world.
Look,
there are a lot of every ethnic group, on this planet, there are people having relations.
Yeah.
But they're not bringing children into this earth.
Yep. Hey, so look, I'll say it like this, right? And that happens too. Okay. When we're talking about order, right? It's a reason why it says it's better to abstain, or to wait until marriage, right? It's because when you don't, like many of us did not.
No, yeah.
So I'm not even gonna try to
take my
sound sanctimonious. Let me take my just so I can look different for my mom. See like mom, cut your thing.
Yeah. Matter of fact, let me check to see if she.
See, we ain't gonna sit up here and make it sound like we did everything right. No. Because I have not. I have done things.
And that's what Kier was referring to earlier. It's easy to to say this stuff when it didn't happen like that for you? And I'm not saying, and I'm not trying to be hypocritical either.
Absolutely, right. But this is what I do know, right? It's a lot of things that I would have saved myself from knowledge of without doing so. I would advise anyone to wait. And if you can't wait, well, I would say wait, right? But if you can't, there's protection that you need to be using to protect yourself.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Like, because there can and will be consequences for not doing so.
Yeah, I'm gonna still have to keep my glasses off because
it's whether you want them or not. It's consequences for that, right? So we think because we don't see the consequence immediate, that it is no consequence, right? That's the scariest thing. You in the danger zone there, right?
Ooh.
Because when you I'll give this example outside of what we're talking about. Say you driving driving under the influence, right?
Yeah.
Every time you do it, it emboldens you to do it a little more. Well, if I didn't get caught this time, I can go a little faster this time.
Wow.
I can drink a little more this time.
Wow.
All right. And what you don't want to happen is the crash, or God forbid you hit somebody else and kill them. So now you got vehicular homicide, driving under the influence.
Yeah. Wow.
Or I know someone that got pulled over driving under the influence, and she's still paying for it. I'm talking financially. The cost that it does, paying all those tickets. So that's just one example. Like you think you're escaping consequences because they don't happen that day.
Wow.
And it don't work like that.
Corinthian, oh man, thank you. Corinthian, I heard one time that you can do wrong the right way. Now that's an oxymoron. And just the example of smoking a cigarette. Yeah, smoking a cigarette is typically wrong. I mean, you can cause cancer, it's gonna mess up your lungs, all that. But you don't smoke the end that's lit. That's doing wrong the wrong way.
That's doing wrong the wrong. You double wrong.
Yeah, double wrong. So So I mean, we gotta start, think about that. And I like how you said that, sometimes consequences aren't expedient. And sometimes we think that just because something bad didn't happen right then and there, it gives us a little leverage to keep doing it. And that's something that we have to learn. But also, I think there's a scripture in the Bible. It talks about the sin that follows on after.
Yeah.
So things like that, when doing something today, can have so many long-lasting effects on your life tomorrow in the future that we don't think about. So when we're talking about doing things in order, it's good to follow a pipeline, a blueprint, a map, that can get us from point A to point B. Because when we start, the straightest way or the quickest way to get from point A to point B is straight. Yeah. But when we got to do all these turns and stops and all this here, it's going to take us a long time to get where we originally are supposed to be. So I would say, yes, people are getting by. Yes, people are functioning.
Yeah.
People are functioning even when they've done things out of the necessary order. But are they functioning as a well-oiled machine?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah. And what I'll add to that, the importance of a mid-course correction.
Ooh,
Okay. So just because you was doing something wrong to start out with doesn't mean you got to keep going down the wrong path.
Wow.
It is important to realize at any point, if I did this wrong, realizing one, the penalty sometimes for doing stuff the wrong way is you might have to start over,
Oh, wow.
right? So you wasted time, energy where you could be that much further, but
Yeah.
sometimes you got to go back to square one and do it the right way, right? I think that is such a important lesson, especially with young people. You know, where if you watch young kids over time, they can find ways to cut corners.
Oh,
And the important lesson that has to be taught very early, so it's ingrained into them in second nature, is um, there are no shortcuts. And if you do it the right way the first time, you don't have to go back and do it again.
all correct there.
Right?
Mid-course, hey, y'all, mid-course correction to all the ladies in the group. And I'm going to say this is from a black brother, 37 years old, who has grown up in environments where I saw a lot of single family homes, and then worked with a lot of young people who come from dual parent homes and single parent homes, divorces, all that. I've worked with so many people. You couldn't even imagine, honestly. But to my young ladies, men typically do not want to be stepfathers. Men typically do not want to raise another man's child. So when you are in your processes of elimination and your processes of selecting people who you deal with, sleep with, or anything in between, you really got to vet. And I'm telling you, there's a pack of guys, a certain amount of guys that are just like those vagabond Jews in the scriptures that are just going around making babies. The person that you're dealing with already has a child, another child somewhere by other women. And yet you give him the highest honor, really, that you could give a guy. The highest honor that a female can give a guy is having his baby. You got to understand that. So when you do that, and when you step outside, or and you put yourself in that situation, and it doesn't work out with the father, and y'all didn't marry or whatever, and when you're starting to look for, and you may necessarily want to get married now, it's very hard. Most guys. Now there are some, and I salute those brothers. Continue to do what you do. But most guys do not want to raise another man's child.
Okay. All right. Great point, Arthur. Uh, I I want to talk to the fellas
There we
just
go.
real briefly, because we're talking about the ladies for a while. I want to talk to the fellas, right? At this age, at 36 years old, I cannot respect anybody that does not take care of his kids. Period. Point blank. There is no further discussion. I can't associate with them. I can't be around them. I can't hang around them. Nothing. I really don't have a whole lot of respect for people that talk about their kids' mom. I don't, because from a male perspective, I'm thinking about it. That's your choice. Um, you you chose that, so that's a reflection on you. You see what I'm saying? So I start to question your judgment. So do I want somebody that's that unwise around me? No, I don't want to associate with that person. I don't want to really do business with that person. No. So what I'm saying is, um, the only men that I can hang around with is men that handle their man business, that handle their responsibilities, because there's a certain role men have to play, period. And if men
Speak
are
on it.
stepping up and doing what they're supposed to do, half of the stuff that's going on right now, half of the issues would be addressed, or be in the process of being handled just by men handling their responsibilities. Period. End of discussion. It's certain things that men are supposed to do. It is.
Sure said Arthur on some
I'm not gonna get in that, but I would say Arthur is handling his man business. So I
Corinthian,
appreciate that. I salute all the
Corinthian,
men
we
that
talked
do.
about this. Was it last season? And I think we did talk about it on the Remedy Room. And the scripture in the Bible, and y'all, we gonna refer back to the scriptures. I mean, it's kind of like one of those blueprint things that we gotta, and as Kia said earlier, is everybody following God's order? Really?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us are missing marks in so many different ways. But
Absolutely.
I can guarantee you, if we followed it to a T, everything would be okay. I can tell you that. I can't lie on that. But it says, he who doesn't provide for his own house is worse than an infidel.
Yep.
And what an infidel in the scriptures is worse than an unbeliever.
Yeah.
So somebody that doesn't even believe in God.
Yeah.
So Corinthian, when you said
you can't.
Right.
Because if you did,
you would be providing
for your own. It's just that simple. Arthur.
But it's but Corinthian, it's the equation. It's the equation. The A plus whatever equals this. And this is the order and that's why it's God, man, woman.
Yes. Sure. Absolutely. Right. So once you get to a certain age, right, men can't operate in excuses when it comes to providing for family. It becomes very concrete. Arthur, the simple equation: you got a wife, you got kids, you got a mortgage. That means you got to get up and do X, Y, and Z in order to keep that going. Any man knows that. It ain't no way around it. It ain't no shortcut around it. It's certain stuff that I got to do. But you also know who you're dealing with. If, like, innately, men understand that. But if you've been taught or haven't seen an example of that doing, you get that twisted, right? So I've briefly talked to people, guys, I'll just call them males, right, that have an issue with working, that can this is what I'll say to ladies. If you're dealing with a guy that does not take pride in going out and doing something and bringing something to the table, what I'm saying is you're not dealing with a functional, a balanced male. You're dealing with somebody that has the male anatomy, but he's not operating as a male the way scripturally it's intended in nature. Because a man is designed to provide, like biblical, going back to Genesis. It says what Adam got to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
It says what the woman got to do in childbirth. All that stuff is written down.
Right.
It ain't no way around it.
Right.
So if you meeting with a guy that's finding a way to not get up and work, you need to leave that person immediately, because you're not dealing with a man, you're dealing with the anchor. All he's going to do is use you for as long as you allow him to sit on your couch, to eat up your food and not bring anything to the
Corinthian,
table.
me and you talk about this often. We have a very low tolerance for non-productive men.
Yeah.
We have a very low tolerance for men cursing out women, men putting their hands on women, men leaving their women, men leaving their children, not raising their children. A very low tolerance. And when you said that we don't chill with, when you say you don't chill, we don't chill with men that ain't in. If you're not raising your child, we don't really deal with you. I don't have friends. I don't have friends. And I'm gonna tell you this again. I don't have friends that don't raise their kids. We're not in the same circle. We really don't even have to talk about, because honestly, if I'm talking to you about my kid, boom, boom, I'm going to this, and you have not said not one thing about your child,
that's an
to
issue.
me,
That's a red
it's
flag.
a problem for me.
That's a red flag.
It's a big red flag.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Corinthian, I talked to a group of men, and I talked about this. No one can call you father except the child. I talked to a group of men, a group of mentors for for elementary school event. It was back in 2013. That's how long ago it was. 2013. And I talked to the fellas who were trying to volunteer to become mentors, and they called it like boots on the ground, where the men were going to get together and they were going to do certain things for the kids. And I said that no one can call you father except your child. So, and what I say about this was that your baby's mom, your wife, whoever, your child sees you in a light. No one can tarnish that light, or nobody should tarnish that light but you. So whatever the child views you as, if they think that you're a great dad, then you're a great dad.
Yep.
If they don't think that you're a great father, you're not a great father. The litmus test for the father and a dad is your child and what your child thinks of you. So the question that we have to ask fathers everywhere, those who have spilled seed, those who are in relationships, what does your child think of you? And I would love to hear the responses on this, because that is the only litmus test that we can go by. Because there are people in the community, there could be bitter people that are saying your daddy ain't nothing, your whatever ain't nothing. But if that child views you as a great father or a great dad, then in their eyes, you are. But you got to live up to that, though. You have to live up to that. In Corinthians, so when you were saying that what men have to do, should there be some type of class or some type of something that men have to go through to before they really start courting or trying to get in relationships with women? Do you think is that prevalent, something that is needed? Because you said a lot of men are angry. Yeah. Where are they getting this anger from?
Well, because things have been out of order for so long, like now we have a couple generations of dysfunction. Ooh, I would say 100 years ago, you didn't need no class and get married, start a family, have kids, provide for your kid. You didn't need a class on that. Our grandparents didn't need a class on that. They just did it. And I would say every generation before that just did it.
Did it.
Now, I'm not saying everything was perfect in
Right.
those
Right.
situations, but naturally that happened. I would say this day and age, because there has been so much dysfunction, you do need those classes. You do need examples of what a gentleman should be doing, how a young lady should be conducting herself. You do need that, because what used to happen, your older generation would teach the younger generation to do it. Now it's older people that need to be taught what to be, and so what has happened though, um, we have now got to the point where nobody can tell anybody anything.
Right.
One, and no one likes correction.
Wow.
That's a dangerous view. You would we need to be getting to the point where we should all love correction, because if we do it the right way, we can perform better
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
time. Like if you learn the right way to to add and multiply,
Wow.
that's gonna help you later on.
Right.
If you learn the right way to read and the right way to write, it's gonna benefit you over time. And so to the point in terms of being out of order, we have to get back to that, right? We also have to get back to, um, actually, I'll say this. Um, I've come down to the realization that elders now is a title. Everybody is not an elder. Just because you get old,
Wow.
just
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
get old, you're not an elder.
Yeah.
Right? I'm of that mind now, because they have been, in my opinion, a lot of older folks that have not um, held up their end of the bargain like folks of old. Uh, Let me give you an example. The older folks that I want to be around have the mindset of some of our esteemed elders. Harriet Tubman. This is the mindset that I would want our older generation, I would want to have as I advance in age. Harriet Tubman was on code to the point where she was free. She had walked up to freedom and came back down. I've read accounts 19 times to free others.
Mm.
Now, when I put that into perspective, I could see if you drive, Arthur, even with cars that we have nowadays, if I told you you got to travel 1,000 miles both ways, even in a car, after around 10 times, you like, I'm good. I done got as
Yeah.
many
Yeah.
people as I can
Yeah.
get. And
Yeah.
that's in a car. We ain't talking about walking,
Yeah.
right? So it just speaks to the pedigree
Right.
that our older generation had. The mindset that they had is not just about me.
Right.
It
I
is
love that.
about how do I impact others. That is how you are revered. That is how you're esteemed. Look at any of our heroes that we call a hero. It's because their reach, their legacy extended beyond them. It won't just about Martin Luther King.
Right.
It won't just about Malcolm X. They
Right.
were about helping more people. And that's what, as I advance in age, I want to be able to look back and say, it won't just about Corinthian. Corinthian was trying to help more people, right? And I think at this point in our lives, first we have a responsibility to our families.
Yeah.
We should be providing for our families to a point where the family is straight, and then we should be extending to our community where we live. and then scale out from there.
Corinthian, I want to be what Dr. G and Mr. Joe are to me. That's the level I want to get to, where I can extend this. And I'm talking to some guys now, but I want to get there. And Corinthian, you talk about this a lot. You talk about getting on code, and we're gonna have a whole segment for getting on code. We got to have a code as a community. We got to get on code, because I can promise you, every other group, they got a code and they stick with their code. And we're gonna have another segment on that. Another segment that we want to have, and we're gonna have a guest for that, is why are Black men marrying outside of their race? We're gonna talk about that.
Because they off code.
They off code.
We'll talk about that for.
We'll talk about that.
Corinthian,
I hope and if you're just tuned in, this is we're season 2, episode 7. Can you believe it? We're on episode 7, and we were talking about order tonight. But I would love to ask men who did not marry their child's mother, why didn't you marry her? Why did you have a child and not make this person why? And then I would also like to ask women who have a father, are you pleased, or would you marry your child's father now? I would love to ask. I would love to find that out. And if so, why not?
Those are great questions. Now, in life, the statement, there's no do-overs, stuff like that.
Shamika said I wouldn't have wanted to be married at the age of 23.
Okay. So this is what I challenge folks to do now, because hopefully in life you're learning lessons, right? How can the lessons that you've learned, some people got to learn stuff the hard way.
Right.
How can you use the life lessons you've learned and use that to help somebody learn from your experiences? Like, to me, that's what wisdom is. We should be trying to pass down wisdom, pass down life experiences to help someone possibly avoid or aid someone else in their journey as they progress through this thing called life. So I think, everything happens for a reason. Everything that we go through,
So, Corinthian, are you more so saying, and since we were talking about single parent, or as opposed to the more favorable outcome of a dual parent household, you would say that most people would probably say you should probably get married before you carry? Or are you saying that people would say, because of their life, if everything turned out great with them being a single parent, are you saying that people would recommend or give advice to somebody to say, hey, you would be fine being a single parent? Are you saying that people would give that advice? Is that good advice? Or are you saying that people would more so use that as a deterrent? Hey, you don't want to make this mistake. Being a single parent and paths that people take more so be a deterrent to people, or somebody would say, hey, it's okay. If you're a single parent, you'll be fine. You can do this. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts, honestly, I think it would be more of a deterrent. The only person that I can think of, and I don't know this person, that would say I could be okay as a single parent is like someone like Rihanna or something like a movie star or some you see what I'm saying? Like Hollywood is not reality, right? So they make that stuff look like you don't, I can do it by myself and stuff. And everybody is not Rihanna. Everybody
Ooh.
don't got, those resources and things like that to where all that stuff is make believe. Like
Ooh.
everybody's not situated in that way where you can just say at whatever age I'm gonna have a kid and we're gonna raise them and their name gonna be, Argentina or
And
something.
then we're
You
gonna
know,
change
they'd
it.
be
Then we're gonna change it to Plato's Closet. Yeah. So you're saying that's not the real world. So you're saying
that's not
that
the real world.
people can do it, but they're still going to be. It's still out of order. Something is going to be missing if you don't have that other parental unit that's involved in life. There's still going to be, but because you have enough money to mask it and to cover it up.
And you can only mask for so long. I mean, money don't fix everything. You see what I'm saying? It just it's gonna manifest in some kind of other way, But yeah,
Okay. All right. Here goes. And we got a few more minutes, and we're going to shut. Thank you for this comment. I tell the girls don't have kids or get married before they are absolutely ready. I don't think being a single parent was a mistake for me. However, you can still marry a person, have a baby by them, and they still don't be a good parent.
absolutely. Shami, I believe that I agree with everything you said in that comment. You can still make it to the right way, the quote unquote white way, getting married, and it still not work out. The
Right.
only thing that I've been saying from the start of this, I would say, are you more likely in this scenario of two people weren't coming together, having a positive outcome, or trying it by yourself, or another person trying
Yeah.
it by itself? And I would argue to anyone that I think you will have a positive outcome more times than not in this configuration as opposed
To
to
that.
that configuration.
No, I agree with that, and I think that sums up our segment tonight because it just reminded me about another part in scripture where the rich man was like, you know, and Jesus told him he said, I've done all these things, I've done everything right. I've followed the law, so I followed this order that there was
Yeah,
out. But then he said, well, sell all that you have and give to the poor.
yeah,
And the guy went away sorry. So you can do all the things right, but there still be something lacking in how you function and how you think and everything like that. You were doing it for show. I mean, there are a lot of people that getting married the right way, but their heart won't in it, their mind
yeah,
won't in it. They got it because they did it to please somebody else. So all these things can happen with people. You can get married for all the wrong reasons. You
yeah.
can,
So,
and bring children. That still does not defeat the aspect of getting married first and then having a child. That
yeah,
process is still right. The process is still right, but
yeah,
your mind might not be in it, your heart might not be in it to where you
yeah,
can function fully to give the child or your spouse whatever they need. So we're not going to fight the process or the
yeah,
order, but
yeah,
there are in situation there are people that they can follow the rules and
yeah,
then but they were just following the rules just to do it, not
yeah,
because they really
yeah,
believed it.
yeah, yeah. It's just like
Oh, she said,
it,
I don't think there's a right way.
okay. It this is what I'll say to that. Okay. Um, concrete math, right?
Yeah,
2 plus 2 equals 4.
right.
If you put the two, put under it 2, put the plus sign, put your slash, equal 4. All right.
Right. Right.
Now, if we start saying now 2 plus 2 equals 5, that's incorrect, but you're calling it right, right?
Ooh.
So what I'm saying is, you ain't gonna change the way that man, woman coming together brings forth life,
Right.
and the order is that should be coming after marriage. You ain't gonna change, how that configuration is. You can call it what you want to call it. You can try to change the language, that's our nature to always try to do that, to call right wrong and wrong right. But I'm saying that equation is always going that's the equation, and that's the solution, that comes to it. Everything outside of that, just because you just because it worked for you, or you calculated a certain way and somehow got a positive, answer, don't mean that that's gonna work for everybody.
Oh, well, I like how you put this. And again, just because it worked for you doesn't mean that advice should be offered as something that people should follow on the norm.
Yeah, that's concrete.
Yeah, the concrete. So I love how you said that. So in those situations, there are some singularly situated things that we go through, and it could turn out great for us.
Yeah.
But in the norm, typically we would not offer this. That would not be textbook.
Yeah.
And you know how we talk about, oh, that's textbook.
Yeah.
That's not how we would necessarily want to learn how to do this.
Yes, I am very thankful for the grace.
Yeah.
When I did my equation wrong in life, many a time,
right,
I am thankful for the grace, and then the understanding to, I need to get this corrected.
right.
So yeah,
I love it, man. Hey, y'all. Thank you, Shamika, for that input. And you're right. It doesn't mean it works for all. You are so right about that. Hey, guys, do you like order? Do you believe in doing things the right way? Can you function in chaos? When you get that package slip in the box that you open up from IKEA or Value City or Ashley Furniture, do you follow the directions?
Yeah, man.
Or do you do things your own way?
Yep.
Men, are you good fathers? Are you preying on women, getting them pregnant, and leaving your responsibilities? Women, are you picking the right men to be fathers to your children? You know what I'm saying? So these are questions that we have to ask, because as me and my brother have stated, we work in situations where we see a lot of dysfunction.
Yeah.
And I gotta say it like that. We see a lot of dysfunction.
Yeah.
And it's typically in one subset group where a lot of this dysfunction is. And we got to talk about it. So, Corinne, we're gonna have our men segment. We're talking about parenting, and we're talking about the black men, leaving the black women, and we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna hit hard on our next segment.
All of the above, man. Shout out, thanks, Carl, for checking us out. Chicago in the building. Mr. Harrison, thank you for Casey for checking us out as well. Yeah, man.
No, for all the input, I believe Shamika, Sherry, Kia, thank y'all so much for y'all's perspectives on things like that. And again, it's not a Johnny Cochran. It's not a, if the glove doesn't, you must. It's not a one size fit all. But there is a easy seamless route, and then there's a hard route that causes you to get
Yeah.
from point A to point B in a elongated way.
Yeah,
Now,
it
some
takes some
people
time.
might say, I got there,
Yeah,
but a lot of people were there waiting on you.
yeah.
And that's how we got to look at it. Hey, y'all, thank y'all for so much for coming to Kick It with the Kellys. Season 2, episode 7. We're going to bring some people on, Corinthian. Order. Obviously, I think order is important to you. I think order is important to me. And, you know, again, I've done some things.
Yeah, we all have.
That I ain't proud of.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for the grace of God. I think it's more dysfunction in 2-parent households than what we know, because people want to appear to be that happy family. Y'all should have had me on tonight. Laugh out loud. Good night. Oh,
yeah,
hey,
look, you coming? Don't worry, you coming? Log on right now.
Post the link. Okay, I think it's more dysfunction in 2-parent households than what we know, because people want to appear to be that happy family. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. No topic is taboo here.
So to that point, and I appreciate you for raising that to light, Shamika. Facebook can have you thinking. Facebook, like Hollywood, can make you think that everything is sunshine and flowers, right? And that's not always the case. All smiles, ain't real smiles, right? All the pictures of smiling faces ain't real. So
Right, what's my favorite saying, man?
Which one? You got a couple.
Daryl been using it. Don't let the pictures fool you.
Don't let the pictures fool you.
Don't let the pictures fool you.
Don't let the pictures fool you. So I do agree with you that, I agree. You could be, you might very well be right, but I would not go as far as saying, because of this, try it this way.
Yeah.
And this way, I'm talking about, you can have a kid and just raise it by yourself, because you don't. The downside could possibly be, it's harder to make it work.
Right.
I would encourage anyone to. I would say, well, in that case, it's counseling. It's what other things can we do to restore the relationship so we can work together and function as a unit? Because I am still of the mind, would I rather add or subtract?
Yeah. No, I got it. Hey, Shamika, thank you. I'm not promoting being a single parent, but I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm in total agreement. It can be done.
Yep.
It can be done. Hey guys, thank y'all so much for kicking it with us. Thank you, Shamika. That was great insight. And yes, we'll have you on. We'll have a pop in episode. We'll pop in. We'll talk about a couple of topics, whatever's on your mind. And then I want to stick with that topic that you just named, the dysfunction piece. That's pretty good. We'll get on that. Hey guys, Corinthian, we're gonna keep swinging, bro.
As always, man.
Hey man, love you, man. Hey, wishing you best in your job venture. Praying that God's blessings be on you as you make difficult decision on who gets your services.
We'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. Hey guys, thank y'all so much for kicking it with us tonight. Until next time, just keep swinging.
Yes, sir.
It's just some things you can't do no more. And some places you can't go no more. Some things you say you can't say anymore.
On Bourbon Street or not, but
Corinthians said this is oil. It's probably big. What is bigger than oil? This thing is diamonds. Like, it's like so massive.
Not gonna do this with y'all. Y'all not gonna. This is cyberbullying.